Hello everyone. We are going to start with a new topic today, that is body fluids and circulation. So let us study this chapter, which is also known as circulatory system. We have to first see whether the circulation is taking place in smaller or unicellular organisms or in higher multicellular organisms. So on that basis, the circulatory system or circulation can be within the cells, which we can call as intracellular circulation, or it can be intercellular circulation. The intracellular circulation takes place in lower organisms, usually in unicellular organisms. In them, there is no complexity, and therefore whatever the absorbed food or distribution usually takes place in the cytoplasm. So the process is known as cytoplasmic streaming, and everything gets absorbed by the process of diffusion. So this circulation is within the cytoplasm, and this is sufficient enough for the distribution of any substance that is required by the organism. It does not include two cells, it is within one cell. So we call it as intracellular circulation. But in higher organisms, it is intercellular circulation because of the complexity, and for that reason the body, being fairly complex, requires a specialized circulatory system, a system that is comprised of blood, that is the circulating fluid. We're talking about human beings, so there is one more fluid that we count, that is blood and lymph. So these two are the circulating fluid, and there is a pumping mechanism. The heart, this is the pumping organ, and a system of tubes which is known as blood vessels. So in these tubes the blood flows. So altogether the compilation of these three things makes it a system called as a circulatory system. So let us first take the blood. We'll study the properties or characteristics of blood. Blood is the fluid connective tissue. It is a connective tissue and it is liquid, so we call it as fluid connective tissue. It is red in color due to the presence of hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is present, so human blood is red in color due to the presence of hemoglobin inside the blood corpuscle RBC. The red blood cells, they have hemoglobin and they are abundant, so they give red color to the blood. Then blood volume in a normal healthy adult is 5 to 6 liters. This is usually 8 to 10% of the entire body mass. We are talking this in general in a generalized body, but in women it is usually lesser because the body mass and the body volume as compared to the males is lesser. So in females it can be around 4 to 5 liters, and in a male we count it to 5 to 6 liters. So it differs in males and females. Then it is slightly alkaline. It is around 7.4 in pH, that is 7 is neutral, it is slightly alkaline, so the value is slightly above 7, that is 7.4, and it is salty in taste. It is opaque and the specific gravity is 1.050 to 1.060. So these are the characteristics and properties of the blood. Now we will be seeing the components of blood, or what does the blood consist of. The blood consists of two parts. Plasma, this is the liquid part, and the corpuscles. These are the solid cells that float in the liquid plasma. This constitutes almost 55% of the blood, and the corpuscles around 45% of the blood. The corpuscles are of three types. RBC, which is also known as erythrocytes, the red blood cells. WBC, white blood cells or leukocytes, and platelets or thrombocytes. So the corpuscles, which constitute 45% of the blood, have are of three types: the RBCs or erythrocytes, WBC or leukocytes, and platelets or thrombocytes. Let us see the plasma. The plasma is a straw colored fluid. Straw means pale yellow. This is straw colored and it's watery because it contains almost 90 to 92% water. So plasma has almost 90 to 92% of water. Then there is 1% of inorganic ions. Now the inorganic ions can be sodium ions, chloride ions, bicarbonate ions, calcium ions, and potassium ions. So these are the inorganic ions that are present in the plasma. Around 7 to 8% of plasma contains proteins. We call them as plasma proteins. Now what are these proteins? These can be albumin. The plasma albumin is very necessary because this helps in the retention of water, and thus it causes or helps in osmoregulation. Wherever the word osmo comes means water. So osmoregulation means it helps in the regulation of water in the blood. So if albumin is right in amount in the plasma, which is a component of blood, the amount of water in the blood is retained. If there is less albumin in patients who are usually undergoing dialysis, there is a loss of albumin from the blood, and therefore when albumin is less in the blood, the water that is present in the blood reaches to the tissue. That means it goes out of the blood. That is a condition which is called as edema. So the water retention is seen in the tissues, which should have actually been in the blood vessels. So the albumin helps in the retention of water. So this is a very important plasma protein. Then there are other proteins like globulin. Globulins particularly are immunoglobulins, and these immunoglobulins, in common words we can say, are antibodies. Immunoglobulins are antibodies. So this forms the defense mechanism of the body. That means the antibodies are generated whenever there is an infestation of antigen, and these antibodies fight against that. So these immunoglobulins are present in the plasma. Then there are certain clotting proteins. The clotting proteins are fibrinogen and prothrombin. So these two help or participate in the process of clotting. This is whenever there is an injury in the body. So they are activated. These are they are present in an inactive form. The inactive form is fibrinogen, its active form is fibrin, and prothrombin is the inactive form and its active form is thrombin. So these are always present in an inactive form, because if they are present in the active form, they will cause blood clotting even when the blood is flowing inside the blood vessels without any injury. So they are always present in an inactive form. And there is also an anticoagulant that is present, heparin. This heparin always helps in the non-coagulation of the blood when the blood is flowing in the blood vessels. But whenever there is an injury, the heparin is usually the function is lowered down, or it is usually the function is less at that time, and fibrinogen and prothrombin becomes active to help in clotting. So again, this acts as a defense mechanism to prevent the loss of blood from the body. So all of this is present in the plasma. Apart from this, we discussed 7 to 8% of proteins, and the remaining 1 to 2% of plasma is formed of other substances. Now what are these other substances? These can be food materials, the food substances. So what can be the food substances? Glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, monoglycerides, and all these food substances are present in the plasma. They are dissolved in the plasma. So whenever the food gets digested, the plasma actually helps in carrying them. So glucose, we know, should be normally in a healthy person be 80 mg per 100 milliliters of blood. So in 100 ml of blood, that means we are talking in liquid content, so it is plasma, 80 mg of glucose should be present. So this is the normal blood. Because this is present in blood, we call it as blood sugar. This amount of glucose is known as blood sugar, which should be always 80 mg per 100 ml. If it becomes more, if crosses 180 mg, then it starts getting excreted out in the urine. So it should not cross this limit. This is the threshold level, and if it becomes more than this, then this is excreted out in the urine. So glucose should be normally maintained in the blood, and this is done by two hormones we have studied in endocrine system, the glucagon and the insulin. So glucagon and insulin maintain the blood glucose level. The amino acids are present when the proteins get digested. The amino acids are present. The fatty acids and monoglycerides are digested after the fat gets digested, and these are present in the form of chylomicrons. These are small substances. That means these are very small fats are digested to form these, which are found or are called in the present in the form of chylomicrons. So these are the food substances that are present in the blood plasma. Then there are certain excretory substances like the urea. The urea is synthesized in the liver, but its removal is done by the kidneys. So from the liver it is brought to the kidneys by the blood. So urea is also dissolved in the blood plasma. Then there are certain respiratory gases like carbon dioxide, which is a excretory substance. That means the carbon dioxide has to be removed out. It is a metabolic waste. So all these substances are also present in the blood plasma. So the excretory substances are also dissolved, and the food substances are also dissolved in the blood plasma altogether. There are certain other substances like hormones, because the endocrine glands produce the hormones, and it's the function of the blood to carry the hormones from the glands to the target organs. So the hormones are also found in the blood. Then certain vitamins are present, and also enzymes. Not all enzymes are found in the blood, but certain enzymes are also found in the blood. Then the lactic acid is present. The lactic acid is also taken to the liver. So these are all the substances that are present in the plasma in the dissolved form. So this was the introduction of the chapter, and in my next video I'll be dealing with corpuscles, the blood corpuscles, the three types of blood corpuscles, that is RBC, WBC and platelets. So if you have any doubt in this section, you can ask me in the comment box, and also refer to the questions that are given in the description box. Thank you.